Okay, we are ready for the veining and detail work. Alright, recenter that a bit. Okay, we've blocked in the leaves, obviously, with the yellow ochre. And now what I'm going to use is the red-brown barnwood color that we have going throughout the color washes in the faux finish on the rest of it. I'm going to use white for the highlights, and I'm going to use one detail brush, and as you can see it's a little tiny fine point one. And of course I have my handy paint towel to wipe things on. Save my jeans. I would encourage you, even if you think you know what a leaf looks like, to go out and actually look at just a random leaf. You know, at least glance at it, even though we are going for whimsy rather than realism here. I find people will do things like drawing or painting a mug. It's got a circle on top, but when you look at it from the side, it's an oval. And I will find again and again people drawing it with a circle on top instead of an oval. And part of developing an artist's eye is seeing it the way it really looks, not necessarily the way it really is. Okay, we're going to go all the way around. I'm going to kind of give just kind of a rough feel to these edges. Kind of serrated. I'm not going to be overly careful. These are supposed to be fun. So I'm not going to be overly paranoid about every little mishap. Got that a little thick there. I'm going to spread it around a little more. Okay. Outline the whole thing, and I'm going to put in my stem over here. I am putting the brown on this side. That's going to be my shade side throughout. And I'm putting more white on this side. And I realized after thinking about that for a bit, I've made that choice, I think largely because I wanted to make sure these edges of the step really show up, because our original reason for doing these leaves was a practical reason, and that was to make sure that no one tripped and fell. That was why we thought about putting in a white line, which we all decided was quite an ugly way of handling that problem. So we thought this was a lot more fun. Okay, I'm going to kind of stroke this in. You don't have to get a line in all in one stroke. Go back and forth. And I use water usually to extend my acrylic paints. I know some people tend to use a lot of polymer. I have used that on occasion, but I don't know. I just am in the habit of using water, and I kind of like it. I do a lot of kind of watercolor technique even with a lot of my acrylics. Put in my veins. Be sure you do anchor your hand or your pinky if you have a lot of wet stuff around you, something to anchor your hand when you're doing things like this so you don't have shaky hand problem. It does make life much easier. Alright, I'm going to add in a little bit of shading, and I'm going to keep the majority of the shading on this side. Doesn't mean I'm not going to put any brown over here, but most of it I'm going to keep over here. It's good to be somewhat consistent. And again, we're going for an almost cartoonish look, you know. We're not going to go for total realism, just fun. if throughout this you have any questions at all, do feel free to email me or post, comment. I'd love feedback. I'm new to the videoing. This is not something I normally have done. This is the first time I've ever filmed myself, this group of little films. It just never occurred to me before, but we've had so many visitors with this house project we're doing. I think we're going on about 3 years because we are doing a lot of stuff ourselves. I'm going to add this in on this side now. And notice I'm going to keep it more on this side than that side because we're going to make this like it's just a little bit more shadowy. But, you know, throughout that time we keep doing projects. I have murals and faux finishes all throughout the entire house that I'm doing. And I'll have people ask, well, how did you do this, you know, and or what gave you the idea, or all kinds of things. And I think a lot of people would like to try some of it themselves, but they're not quite sure how. So I thought, well, this might be kind of fun to just try doing a video. Anyway, let me know what you think. If there's things you wish I'd answered that I didn't, or be sure and tell me. Now my daughter, that was one question someone asked me that I would not have thought of. She wanted to know, were these leaves in the snow? Because of all the light. Well, that actually is kind of a good question, because they are very white, and I thought about it, and a lot of it I like the punch white gives it. White really, a light color like this really just brings things to life a lot of the time, and since we are going for the fun, whimsy feel, we don't need it to be perfect. But I also kind of like, I guess, the frosty feel of it, because they are fall leaves. They should be kind of chilly. So when I thought about it, I realized I kind of liked that too. I'm going to add in a hint over here. I'm not going to outline it quite so thoroughly because this is the dark side. I think that one is done. And you know, the nice thing with the acrylics, I can come back in and add something in, no problem later on. Alright, let's go ahead and do this one. We'll treat him exactly the same way. Nope, got a little too much water in there, didn't I? Okay, just add a little more paint in. Add in our vein in the middle. Don't have as much curve as I'd like. I think just wipe them out. Or darken it up a little bit more too. Since we are going for a rather bold look. You know, and this probably is the scariest part, I suppose, of this project, and don't be scared of it. If it really bombs, you can always just paint right over the top of one of these and start it. You notice I'm still keeping that one just a little bit darker on one side than the other. Okay, add the white in. Just kind of brings it to life a little bit. There we go. Not being too exacting again with this. Whoops. No, it's a little thicker than I liked. Okay. Add a little bit on this side, a little whimsy. I want it real light on that side because that's the shadowy side again. Okay, I'd say that one is done. When I've got the steps completely finished, I will take a picture and paste it to Facebook, excuse me, and I will try and tack on a bit of what all this looks like on the end of this.